I always had a very difficult time understanding this parable in the gospel today, the image of the vine, the branches, and the fruit, because I didn't really know where grapes came from. So I think like a lot of you, when you want to get grapes, or when I want to get grapes, I go to Safeway and I go to Costco and I get the grapes. It's kind of funny now. They're in like a plastic container. They're in there and they're sealed at the top. And you got to like rip open this seal and you get the grapes there. And I've been told that that's not how they naturally occur in nature. But anyway, we can get a bit disconnected from all this imagery, this beautiful imagery that Jesus is saying in the gospel today. I once had a bit more insight into the gospel today, the vine and the branches. When I was studying in Rome, I got to live in what's called the Canadian College. It's basically like a dormitory where a bunch of priests live together, get along together, sometimes successfully, sometimes not as successfully. But we study there together. And there's a bit of a courtyard there at the Canadian College. And there was a grapevine with branches. So it was interesting to spend some time there to see as the seasons turned, the way that the grapes grew. And it was there that I came to see at least what Jesus was talking about in this parable of the vine and the branches. The way that you have the vine that goes deep into the ground, a thicker vine, from which come various branches where eventually you see first the leaves and then the grapes begin to grow. And I noticed as I was observing this vine of grapes over the season that no fruit, no grapes grow on the vine, the thick part. They only grow from the branches, from where there will be leaves and the fruit is produced from the branches, never from the vine. And then eventually someone came by to prune this grapevine. And I was shocked the way it was pruned. I thought, okay, you've killed it. There's nothing left. But he basically was very, very skilled, the man who came, and he pruned this vine back, took away all the branches, and the next year it came back, produced even more fruit than before. With this way, being able to at least observe grapes and not just kind of get them in a plastic bag, I began to have a bit more understanding of this parable, which is a really beautiful, organic parable, you can say, of how we are connected to Jesus and through Jesus to one another, very similar to St. Paul's image of how we are the body of Christ. So we see in this image of the vine and the branches that Jesus, of course, is the vine. But very importantly, it is through us, the branches, that Christ bears fruit in the world. We are the ones who love the world, who show justice to the world. Jesus acts through us. The fruit does not grow off the vine, who is Christ, but through us, his followers, the branches. This really is our mission, and we're not alone in this mission. This parable of the vine and the branches also teach us how all the branches are really connected to one another through the vine. We work together, we know each other, we live in deep, intimate communion with one another. I was reading this little anecdote recently about a country church, kind of in a rural neighborhood, a small church, and at Mass, before Mass, one of the ushers noticed that coming into the door was a visitor to this small church, an elderly woman. So the usher greeted this elderly visitor and said to her, "Where can I seat you in the church? Where would you like to sit?" And the elderly visitor said to the usher, "I'd like to sit really front and center, close in the front pew here." And the usher said, "I'm not sure if you want to do that, you know. I know you're new here, but the priest is quite boring in his homilies, so maybe you don't want to sit too close to the front." And the elderly visitor said to the usher, "By any chance, do you know who I am?" And he said, No, I'm sorry, we haven't met." And she said, "Well, I'm the priest's mother." And the usher said to her, "Do you know who I am? Do you know my name?" And she says, "No." And he said, "Okay, thank goodness." And he walked away. So that is not what we're looking for in this idea that we are connected. We're really a close community. We're to know each other. We are to support each other. And this comes across so beautifully in this image of the vine and the branches. As well, of course, Jesus talks about pruning, that I witnessed as well there when I was in Rome. All of us, of course, have our talents, our goodness, our gifts. Each of us are good in the way we've been created, but each and every one of us need pruning. There's aspects of our personality that are not so helpful, that stand in the way that we can bring fruit into the world. And all of us can be pruned, regardless of really maybe how many problems or difficulties we might have. This really came across so beautifully in the life of St. Paul, who we heard in the first reading today. We've been hearing in Acts of the Apostles about really this conversion of St. Paul. The way that St. Paul was really a pious Jewish person, and he always boasts about this in his letters, the way he followed the law, the way he prayed, the way he sought to serve God. But St. Paul was overly zealous. He became a persecutor of the followers of Jesus Christ. He became violent. And as we read in Acts of the Apostles, really, God came and you could say pruned Paul and almost pruned him down to the roots. Paul was struck down. He was blinded. Paul was able to have this moment of faith where he recognized that Jesus was truly the Messiah, and these people that he was persecuting were parts of Jesus' body, parts of the branches to which he would soon become a part of this great vine. But we see that after this pruning of St. Paul, everything changed for him. He became so fruitful. He went and he started all these churches all over the Mediterranean, wrote these letters that we still read today. It must have been a shock, and we know it was a shock from Acts of the Apostles, for people to have seen this incredible change in the life of St. Paul. Just like for St. Paul, so too for us, God can prune us. He can make us be more fruitful. In the end, John in his gospel today, in describing this parable of the vine and the branches, communicates this great intimacy that we have with Jesus. As you were listening to the gospel, you might have heard repeated the word abide. Abide in me. Those who abide in me bear much fruit. This word abide is very significant in John's gospel and theology. It describes this intimate, this close relationship we have with Jesus. We become part, really, of Jesus himself. Just like the sap or the nutrients flow from the vine to the branches, so too the life of Jesus himself flows through us when we abide with him. This gospel challenges us to abide with Jesus today, to spend time in prayer, in reflection, and also to receive the sacraments. Many people note that this parable of the vine and the branches also has Eucharistic imagery, because, of course, from the fruit of the vine, we get the wine that is used during the Eucharist, used during Mass. It is really here in the Mass, in the Eucharist, where we abide with Christ and abide with one another by receiving from this same Eucharist in such a powerful way. It's in the Eucharist and in the Mass we receive this strength to go and be fruitful in the world. I would just like to close with a beautiful prayer, and I probably said it before, from St. Teresa of Avila, who lived in the 16th century, and it expresses so wonderfully the way that it is through us, the followers of Jesus, that Christ continues to bring fruit, to bring love, to bring care into the world. The prayer's name is Christ Has No Body. Christ has no body but yours, no hands, no feet on earth but yours. Yours are the eyes with which he looks with compassion on this world. Yours are the feet with which he walks to do good. Yours are the hands with which he blesses all the world. Yours are the hands, yours are the feet, yours are the eyes. You are his body. Christ has no body now but yours. No hands, no feet on earth but yours. Yours are the eyes on which he looks with compassion on this world. Christ has no body on earth but yours.